One thing about South Africa, there is never a dull moment. You know, you can never claim we're boring. We're not boring in South Africa, and it's been one of those weeks in South Africa where certainly it has been interesting. There's been a lot going on. But otherwise, Sanbonani, hello, Dumelang. I want to talk this week about leadership. Or at least, let me put it this way. I want to talk about the kind of leadership that we need just in this era, in the world, in South Africa, particularly the kind of leadership that we need in a country that really, really needs to turn around economically, in a country that needs stability, in a country that actually needs inventiveness, and innovation. So earlier this week, I met with some MPs from Germany. And let me first say, I am always so proud when I talk to counterparts from anywhere in the world to be South African. I'm always so proud of who we are. I'm always so proud of the things that we are able to accomplish. I'm always so proud of the things that we are able to overcome. And so obviously their interest was a lot about the GNU. How's the GNU working? Why aren't we as Build SA a part of it? And it had me reflecting, of course, about leadership and the kind of leadership that we need. One of the things they spoke about being the reasons why their coalition governments take a significantly longer time to form was what we've been asking for as Build SA, which is the fact that you need to be able to sit together as parties to a coalition government. You need to be able to sit and agree on what the roadmap looks like, agree on what you want to accomplish. And, it's important that we have that kind of leadership that is actually about what we're wanting to accomplish versus what we're wanting to get, what we're wanting to gain. The sense was that with the GNU, there was never a space or an agreement that spoke to the outcomes in every single portfolio and broadly that this government actually wants to achieve, and how that will work politically. I know that the cabinet met afterwards, etc., but politically, how does it work, and how do you agree on the outcomes you want to achieve and the policies that are going to make sure that that happens? Also, in that conversation with German MPs, you can't but not think about and reflect on what's happening in Israel. And that speaks to a need for the kind of leadership that we have in this era, in the 21st century, to be more about people. I am always heartbroken about Israel and Gaza, because at the end of the day, the people who suffer are the citizens. It is the citizens that suffer the most. It is them who die. And at this point, we keep calling for a ceasefire, but what it takes for there to be a ceasefire, what it takes for even there to be a sitting around the table to engage on the way forward in what has been an issue that has gone on for centuries, is being about the people, is understanding that it should be about the people. That what that also takes, though, particularly in our context as South Africans, is remembering our power as people. And so I always say, and I keep encouraging us as South Africans to remember our power, because to get into a position where you have leaders that consider you first, it's because you've remembered that you're in charge, and you've reminded them that you're in charge and you're the ones who hold the power. Tshwane, looking at what has happened, again, the people of Tshwane have to remember their power. They have to remember that they're in charge. I look at what's happening, and I look at the mudslinging and some of the conflicts that are happening between the political parties, and I ask myself all the time, who's this about? Is this still about the people of Tshwane, or is this about political parties that want to show the other who has got power and want to show their muscle? It can never be about that. And so citizens have to hold that new government that sits in Tshwane to account. They have to hold them accountable, and they have to make sure that they deliver for them. The citizens of Tshwane have to know and remember their power. They shouldn't tolerate any of the sort of political arm wrestling that is happening at their expense. It should never happen at the expense of the citizens of Tshwane. And those leaders, I actually call upon the leaders that sit in that metro to make sure that it's the citizens who come first. So we need the kind of leadership that puts people first, not just in South Africa, the world over. Second kind of leadership that we need, decisiveness. This week I sat in the Trade, Industry and Competition Portfolio Committee where we had the minister and the deputy ministers presenting to us on the performance of the first quarter. And also we had sent some questions that we wanted answered about the National Lotteries Commission. Here's one thing I'm going to say about that whole department. I do not know how that department functioned in the last administration. There is so much that is wrong in terms of governance and leadership in that department. There are way too many boards that are dysfunctional. There are way too many vacant senior positions. I'm talking about DGs and CEOs of entities. And there just is a sense that there wasn't the kind of leadership that you need in that department. And now there still isn't, because what we need from that minister is decisiveness. So you still have boards that are dysfunctional, that are operating. You still have entities that are dysfunctional, that have qualified audits, that actually have not had consequence. You still have unfilled vacancies, key vacancies that are unfilled, and we're not able to get any sort of decisiveness about what will happen about those vacancies and when it will happen. And so you need decisiveness. And broadly, we need decisiveness. We need ministers and senior leaders and political leaders who are able to be decisive. We don't have time. There are many things in this country that are actually literally, as it stands now, on a ticking bomb and need to be able to be resolved as quickly as possible. And then lastly, the kind of leadership that we need is innovative. We need innovative leadership. We need inventive leadership. We need imaginative leadership. I was doing oversight visits this week in the Northern Cape with the Portfolio Committee for Small Business Development. And let me tell you, I am frustrated. I am incredibly frustrated because a lot of people complain and say there isn't much happening. They don't understand what's happening with the Department of Small Business Development. They don't understand why it exists, and I get it. Because what it is supposed to be doing is not happening. What you have is tick box exercises that sit in that annual performance plan that they are able to achieve. I'll make an example. Support 10,000 businesses in a year. What does that mean? What does that mean? Ultimately, is there growth in those businesses? Is there sustainability in those businesses? Are those businesses actually able to employ people? Are we seeing an increase in employment? And with the NDP goal that says we need to have 90% of jobs being created by small businesses by 2030, we're far from that. And we're actually not able to hold the small business development department and the minister accountable for that. More so, you look at the businesses and the programs, it's the same programs that have existed for 15 years. There is no ambition, there's no imagination. I'm not saying we don't need to support the likes of catering companies. Of course we do. A lot of them that have been supported by programs such as these have grown, have become independent, they've hired people, but we also need to stretch our imagination into future industries. We need to be thinking about technology. We need to be thinking about responsiveness to the needs of this time. And there is no space for research and development, no space for innovation, especially from townships, especially from young people. And so those programs continue to do signage, continue to do logos, continue to do marketing material, but we're not seeing the kind of support that can see us truly progressing in innovation in this country. And that is what we need. I quite frankly think we need a new minister. I've said it. We need a new minister. This minister has been there for more than one term, has not shown any sort of progression, any sort of innovation, let alone just delivering on the basics. Many businesses are frustrated because there are these programs that just literally are about let's buy people these set assets, or let's give people this signage, or let's do business plans, but it is not truly entrepreneurial. It is not truly it is not truly entrepreneurial. It is not truly innovative, and we're not going to see a turnaround in that department or in small businesses in this country, which are so critical to the economy, if we don't have that innovation. All in all, we need to be thinking about leadership in this country. We need to be thinking about leadership that takes this country forward, and we need to be choosing the kind of leaders that do that. That's why we have the model that we have as Build One SA of allowing or giving opportunity to communities to choose their own leaders, and that's why we're fighting for a change to the Electoral Act so that we're able to choose our own president and other political leaders directly. Otherwise, if you need to contact me, it's nwebster@parliament.gov.za. I've started to receive some emails from you. Thank you very much. I'm responding. The team is helping with some of the inquiries that you've sent through, and we will be getting back to you. Have a good one.